Hi, good morning. My name is Haiti, and I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. And welcome to our pre-Thanksgiving Sunday morning community meeting on recovery. We two friends who get together and discuss what is recovery, how does it look, and why do we have it, or where do we find it. I'm a compulsive overeater.
I found it under the table.
I'm a binge eater. I'm a food addict in recovery. I'm also a drug addict, and I had bariatric surgery 2 years ago, but I am in recovery.
Yeah, and that's the important part. You guys are in recovery. And welcome to everybody who's here this morning, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Almost happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, almost. So we had an amazing week. We had 2 workshops this week that were unbelievable. The first one was on Thursday about the whole holiday craziness and binging and the emotional roller coaster, and how do we get on top of that, and tools that we can use.
And what are the recovery tools that we use?
Right.
Actually, not just the quote unquote diet stuff that doesn't work, but having an understanding of why we're doing what it is that we're doing so that we can stop the behaviors.
Right, and everything that we do relates to recovery. We are a recovery community. This is our stories. This is how we share and we grow and we learn from each other. And part of the learnings are the workshops that we get into, because it helps us to get deeper into the stuff as life shows up. For a lot of addicts, we're very sensitive people. We take things personally. Our emotions really run riot. Mine has been an emotional roller coaster the last couple of days, but that's okay. That's okay. One of the beauties of stepping into recovery is starting to feel again. I spend so much of my life being numb that all of a sudden, I was either numbing myself with food or with substances or people or anything to stop being present. And one of the beauties of recovery, and sometimes it's really hard, is getting in touch with different emotions and different things.
And being able to be who you are and not having to hide it and not worrying about your ego. What does Karen think about me if I act like that? Who cares, right? It's about being more in touch with our emotions and showing up as our authentic selves so that we can be true to ourselves, true to the community, learn and grow with each other. And learn and grow as people do in recovery. Learn how to get well and learn how to be of service to the community, and to lend our hand to somebody else.
For quite a few of us who are those food addicts or who are opted to have the bariatric surgery, one of the things that came up on Thursday was really how we feel this compulsion that we have to eat stuff to make other people happy, which is the insanity of our thinking.
First of all, it's a lie. It's a lie that we tell ourselves that allows us to use, by the way. Just saying that. Go ahead.
And also, we think that we're that important, that people are really watching everything that we're putting on our plate, and that they're going to remember it the next day. And one of the takeaways was, if that person is remembering it, bring them to the meeting, because this is where they really should be. Because if their worlds are so small that becomes the main focus, then maybe they should be on a journey of discovery as well.
Which, by the way, really isn't our business. But that's okay, because as people in recovery, we're going to judge less. Understand why we're doing the things that we're doing a little bit more, have a little bit more compassion and understanding for others, and again, learn and grow as people in recovery do.
And yesterday we also had an amazing workshop, and just thank you to everyone who reached out, because I'm blessed to be in such a caring and loving community, and it really is. They are tremendous people here, and the outpour of love and compassion is just, it always gets me. It's just really cool. One of the things is, as an addict, I always look for excuses to use and to blame other people, because that was the chaos that I could create. To be able to not take responsibility or look at me, it's much easier to divert things and put it on other people. And one of the learnings yesterday was our part in our lives and where we are today. And I just thank you.
My pleasure.
For organizing them and
My
for
pleasure.
doing them, because they really are. I'm really grateful for those opportunities to grow.
Thank you. And that allows me to be of service to the community. And thank you for everybody who shows up, because even though it's me that teaches those workshops, or runs those workshops with you guys, it's you guys that teach me so much and help to keep me in recovery. So thank you so much for that. So yesterday we had an assignment, and even though it was part of our workshop assignment, we're going to go through it with a couple of you guys, because What we touched on was super important, and so there's a quote by Anise Nin, which is, everybody knows I love quotes, and there's a quote by Anise Nin, and she says, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk that it took to blossom." And so we're gonna find, unfortunately, as human beings, that oftentimes we don't change until there's so much pain, until the pain is so great that we feel spiritually that we have no choice but to change. That's the way that it was for me when I first stepped into recovery. I had nowhere to go but live. You know, I could choose at that point to live or not to live, and I chose to live. There was something inside of me that still had that little glimpse or glimmer of hope that said to me in my head that perhaps this can get better. Perhaps I could have a better understanding of myself and the world around me. Perhaps I can learn some acceptance. Perhaps I could learn how not to be so sad and to spiritually get well. And so when we talk about pain as a great motivator, unfortunately, as I said, pain is a great motivator. You know, it's too bad. We can't just wake up one morning and say, hey, the stuff that I'm doing really isn't working for me, and my life is kind of okay, so I think I'll fix it now so it could be even better. That's usually not the way that it works for most humans. Yes?
So we can't just take a pill and make it better.
Well, I took a lot of pills. So here's the thing. I took lots of pills, and I thought that they made it better for a short period of time until they didn't. And so one of our assignments at the end of workshop yesterday was to have an understanding of what that quote meant. And I wanted to hear in your words what that quote meant and what it means to you in your life. And Bonnie, I'm going to start with you. Good morning.
Good morning.
You did your assignment, I'm sure, because...
In my head, I will say...
I'm so proud of you for not doing your assignment, because that says a lot about where you are right now. So either it says you have the efforts, like I don't care what she tells me to do, which is good, because that means that you care more about what you're doing than what I think. And that's part of our recovery. This recovery is for you. It's not about what I think or what the community thinks. It's about you and what you're doing for yourself spiritually. And, you know, a lot of us happen to be quote unquote people pleasers, and will do it pissed off and do it anyway, which is kind of a good idea just to get it done. But it's different behavior from you, and I'm glad to see it. So in your head, what does it mean to you?
Well, I realized when you said it again, because I was going to be perfect and do it, but I got very confronted with that. To me touches those feelings that I have so much trouble sharing.
Okay,
Just
fair enough.
looking at that statement, because there's a lot of pain in not feeling those feelings, in keeping it in, and then the freedom of letting it out. So there was, so in just the constraint that I put under myself and in my emotions are definitely more painful than just sharing it and getting support and allowing love or emotions to enter.
And as long as you stay, you know, they say in the rooms that we're only as sick as our secrets. And that's one of the most important lessons that we're going to learn, is that the more stuff we hold in, the more sick we are. And you know what? We say it, first of all, nobody cares. We think it's so important, and oh my God, and that's because we're so self-centered, because everything that we're feeling and we're thinking is so important, and it's not. They're just your feelings and your thoughts, and that's okay, right? And so to keep them stuffed and to stay sick will get us to the point where we're sick enough for addicts. We use and we use and we use, and being able to let go of that is going to be the difference between either staying abstinent without recovery or not staying abstinent, or walking into recovery and actually being in recovery and the abstinence second. You know what I mean? Because the abstinence stays when we're in recovery. And so my hope for you, I gave you a hard time yesterday about how your words are all flower petals and beautiful and no feeling, no emotion. And I challenged you to get in touch with that emotion, and that's what you're going to be working on. We're going to find out a little bit more about you, not about the way that you present or the words that you say, but actually who you are, so you could take a look at who you are, so that you could step into recovery, spiritual recovery, and get some happy.
So it actually was great that I didn't write because of that. And I was really feeling, I had the conversation with my husband was like based on like feelings, and it was great because I saw like how I so distanced myself from them.
Okay.
And not sharing, and it was great that I didn't have to, so I'm not ready to put in words yet because my words are flowers.
Okay.
So
All right. Yeah. So start writing.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm going to ask you for this part of the assignment, whether you believe it or not, whether you're feeling it or not, to do it.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you. Karen, good morning.
Good morning. When I thought about that quote, to me it means dying on the vine, darkness, hidden, being hidden, remaining hidden. To think about it blossoming means opening up to the light and warmth, to become what I am meant to be.
Yeah, very good. So, and of course I expected that to be written beautifully and excellently, and everybody's shaking their head. Yeah, and so to let in the light, you know, they say the sunlight of the spirit, you know, let in the positivity for me, which means the positivity of the universe. You know how like when we're telling the truth and we're not burdened by our own pain because we've let that stuff out, how it kind of feels like, and I talk about this, like the ground beneath your feet is kind of in the right place. You know what I mean? Where it feels like you're stepping into that positivity for me, that positive energy of the universe. Right? When we're lying, when we're hiding, we could feel that push back, right? It's almost like trying to stand up against a wave. And and so that being open up and that sense of, you know, when you talk about opening up, even when we just take our arms from this and go like this, there's some sense of freedom. You know, it feels different. Spiritually, for sure, it feels different. And so when we're all bottled up and closed up and angry, we don't have any room for happy. Thank you so much. Beautifully written. Thank you so much for sharing, Karen. Liz?
Thank you.
So I don't usually do this, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of context. Before I wrote what this meant to me, I thought about all of the times I've like, quote, hit rock bottom, meaning I've gone through 2 divorces, I started a business and that business failed, and I had financial ruin because of it. You know, I've experienced death, I've lost a baby, you know, fill in the blank, lots of things. Everybody goes through traumatic things, and I thought about all those times how I picked myself back up and recreated myself, and that's what this meant. To me, it meant recreating myself couldn't possibly be as painful as remaining who I was or how I was. Instead, the possibility of becoming a new, better version of myself gave me hope.
Yeah, so if we were going to give an award in the last couple of months to this spiritual leaps and bounds person, you know, for me and everybody else in the room, you'd have to get it. You know, for a whole bunch of different reasons, and everybody's shaking their head. One of the reasons is because we've known you for how long? A year? How long have you been coming to meetings?
About 7 months.
Okay, 7 months. You've been coming to meetings for 7 months. In the last couple of months, you've shared more. You shared more in the last 10 seconds probably than you did in the last 7 months. But as far as, and thank you for that, because that makes you a whole lot of relatable to a whole lot of people. But beside that, your willingness to be open and to say, F it, man, this is who I am. This is what I've been through. This is what I'm working on. You know, and that's okay. I'm comfortable with who I was. I'm certainly comfortable with who I am and looking forward to who I'm growing up to be. And that's amazing. Your honesty has went, you know, you were angry and now you're not. You were closed down and now you share. You know, you're helpful. You're out there. You're involved and you're evolving. And I just want to send some gratitude your way for that, because as helpful as it is to you is as helpful as it is to everybody else. So thank you for sharing. I'm proud of you for growing up, but thank you for sharing, because that also allows you to be of service, and for me, service is where it's at. Yes.
So I also just wanted to say a few things. One is I learned so much from your courage, because as I'm watching, as I'm part of this journey, and I'm very humbled and very grateful to be part of your journey, I get so many insights, not only to you as the amazing person that you are, but I also learn so much about myself by the things that you're sharing, that I also grow in this, and I'm grateful for you for doing that. And also, I just wanted to say something to anyone else who's just like stepping in for the first time or not sure. We grow by the amount of times that we show up and the work that we put in, and it's not always easy. You know, a lot of the times it's really, really difficult to just get out of our head and put things into our voice. And Liz, you're one of the people that always shows up. You show up to meetings, you show up to workshops, you show up online, you just show up and you're participating, and I just thank you, and I'm so proud of you also.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say that Liz shared yesterday that she doesn't care anymore. She doesn't care what I think. She doesn't care what you think. She doesn't care how it sounds. She wants to get well. And she's gonna do what it takes to get well. And that I don't care, which drives you crazy, right, Angelique, when I say that? I don't care. That I don't care, meaning I'm gonna let go of my ego. Someone else's opinion of me doesn't make me who I am. It makes them who they are. So someone else's opinion of me isn't going to be the driving force behind how I am emotionally anymore. Very, very big deal, very big lesson to learn in recovery, right? Acceptance, right? Acceptance, understanding, compassion, empathy. Those things that we learn when we get out of our own self-centeredness, realize that the world doesn't revolve around us, and that we can change, and that we can be happy, and then we can be of service to others. Good job, you, Liz. Thank you very, very much.
Liz, how many days clean are you, sweetie?
30, right?
27.
Oh,
That is
27.
awesome. So I just wanted to
Yay.
ask you a question. Have you noticed the shift in yourself in terms of your thinking, your being, from the time before you were abstinent to where you are right now?
Yes. I'm not obsessing about things as much. I mean, I have a couple of days here and there, moments, but overall, I'm not obsessing about food or people or what's going on, or I don't know. I'm just not crazy anymore.
Right. Well, I don't know about that, because I'm still crazy. So if you're not, God bless you. The thing is that when we're abstinent, we get to stop paying attention just to the cravings, and it allows us to pay attention to who we are, right? Because when we stop, when we're abstinent from starches and sweets, doesn't mean we have recovery, because we don't. Just means that it allows us, we've got clean time, but it allows us to start paying attention to the real challenge, which is us, as opposed to the challenge of what it is that we're doing, right? So now we can pay attention to our thoughts that are driving our behavior instead of just the behavior. So good job, you. I'm proud of you. Laura, did you do your assignment, Angel?
Yes, Liz, so much respect for you. Thanks for sharing. It's amazing. Yes, I did my homework. Okay, so for me, it was that place where you hit bottom and you have to make a change. It's like that, but it's hitting bottom for me. It's about growth.
Yeah, and so, and I love that, Laura. You're super matter of fact, and that's exactly what it is. It's about hitting bottom. What's the quote, you guys? Rock bottom is
the solid foundation
that my recovery is built on,
Yeah,
or something is
exactly.
built on. Yeah. And so again, can you look that up for me?
Yes,
Rock
rock
bottom is the solid foundation. If you just put that in, it'll tell you what the next couple of words are. Yeah, and so that's what it's about. It's about being so sick and so scared and so beaten up that I don't have nowhere to go but up, or dead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so that's if we just want to get to the point, that's exactly the truth. And we could probably all write novels about what it feels like to be there, and how scary it is to be there. And when we're in recovery, we could all write novels about how crazy it was when we decided to stay there.
Yeah.
You know, when we decided, I don't know if I'm going to be upset. Oh, yes, I can. Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We fell down far and we stood up strong. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you. And thanks for calling out Angelia as the liar that she is. No, just kidding.
You did
I
already
know
text
she
me.
did. I know. Thank you. You're so cute. Thank you. Ange, did you do it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, speak up, man.
I think it's already been said. Like, it's,
Say it again.
Okay. So, basically, I thought of the same concept as the rock bottom thing that I think Laura said. Just that the place that you, and I used my own personal experience to kind of
Answer.
define what I mean. So, basically, the pain or the place you're in now is so strong that getting better, it doesn't, the benefits of getting better outweigh where you're at currently.
Yeah, no matter how scary that is,
Yeah.
right? Good morning, Susan, best mom ever. I don't know if she said good morning yet, but Susan always says, you know, transition sucks, but it's awesome and amazing when you get to the other side, right? The transition part is scary. The change part is scary. No matter how sick we are, when we stay sick and stuck in sick and scared, no matter how horrible that is, it becomes what we're used to. And so it becomes our way of life. And thinking about changing, even thinking about speaking of changing, means that we're going to do a whole lot of work, excellent work. You know, when we go to college, and we know for the next 6, 7, 8 years, we're going to study our butts off. We're going to write all of these papers that we don't want to. We're going to get up every day and go to school and stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning. That's an expectation that we have, and we do it, right? And then in the end, we come out with a degree. But we don't dread it every day. We're growing and we're learning and we're putting the work in to become the person that we want to become. You know, my challenge to everybody out there is to wake up this morning and decide today. For today, I'm going to make that decision to become the person that I know that I can become. And that's going to be letting go of the fear. You know, they say courage isn't not being scared, because we're going to be scared. But the only way that we're going to be able to let go of that fear is to walk through the fear, get to the other side, and realize that the scary wasn't so scary. What's more scary is staying where we are. Andrew, you have a lot of experience with that, about walking through the fear of being petrified and doing something anyway. You want to talk about that for a sec, please?
Oh, sure. So, in the beginning, well, not even in the beginning, even now sometimes.
Even now sometimes.
Yeah. Do you want a specific example or just
Whatever you want to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to make a generalization, when I started my recovery, I was like scared of everything. I was living in my room pretty much. I had graduated and I was stuck because I was scared. And it's not because I wasn't good enough. I was on paper. I just didn't feel that I was good enough. And when I stepped into recovery, me and Felice talk a lot. I see her every day. And so this week especially, I've been telling her, I feel like I'm living the life that I was supposed to have 2 years ago that never happens because I was so scared. Some of you know I'm applying to dental school, and in the past I had applied to different programs and it didn't work out because I was so scared I got in my own way, you know. And this time around I'm doing it. Nothing's changed except for my perspective and my attitude and my self-worth and how I feel about my capability. And that change has changed my life, and that's the essence of recovery.
Yeah, so I really like that she said that nothing changed except
No.
for me.
Nothing changed.
Nothing
Yeah.
changed except my perspective.
Right.
At the end of the day, today, I could point out 150 things that went wrong, that pissed me off. Or at the end of the day, I could point out 150 things that went right, that I'm grateful for, that keeps me happy. That's about me.
I want to add something, and this is not to Doesn't matter. I'm not going to
Yeah.
justify it. You know, I graduated. There's 50,000 students at my university. I graduated in the top 1%, and because I felt I was not good enough, that was my truth. I wasn't good enough. And so when I mean nothing changed except my perspective and how I thought about myself, that was it. That's all that changed for me, and that changed everything. Now I became good enough to get interviews, and to people want to meet with me and see what I'm about and all of that kind of stuff.
So you said, and so I thought I wasn't good enough, and so that was the truth. I wasn't good enough. And so that's that. That's awesome. That's that. If you think you can't or you think you can, you're right. Right? If I think that I can't accomplish this, I can't. Right? That's my mindset. If I think I can, not only can I got a great fighting chance. You know, does it mean that I can fly? No. Does it mean that perhaps I can build an airplane? Perhaps. Right? Yesterday too, we talked a lot about hope, and you put up your hope, right, Liz? Yeah. Did anybody else post their hope?
Yes.
Did you post your
Yeah,
hope?
posted mine.
Oh, you did. You finished your assignment.
I did.
Good. Did you do this assignment?
I did.
Okay. Can you talk about your assignment, please?
Sure. There are a couple of things. Firstly, I just want to say something about Angie. Angie's another person who shows up. I mean, she shows up, she does workshops, she comes to meetings, she volunteers at meetings, she shows up online. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So there were a couple of things. Yesterday I arrived, I was all fucked up. I mean, I had those days where I get inside my head, and when they say think outside the box, I live in a box, and this is the little box that I carry around. And all I can think about, Laura, is I'm not a weak woman, okay? Awesome.
That's what I
So I came in here
Because it was all about Haiti. Like the
Because it was
whole entire
all-
planet revolves around
Right.
what happens inside of your head.
Okay, so for
So-
years and years, I could never cry. Okay, so for me, being in a public place, firstly, and being at workshop and crying my eyes out, okay, was like a huge thing for me. I wanted to crawl away and leave. I mean, my first
you do it
instinct-
often now.
But I do it often
You
now.
do it
Now
all
I
the
see
time.
you guys and I
It's
start
just
crying.
professional crier.
I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. Whatever. But anyway, the one thing there are a couple of things that came up with this assignment, and beyond the jokes and everything, some people never get it. Some people die because of addiction, you know, and that some people never get the help where they learn how to be happy and live in the moment, and that's a travesty of the disease. I mean, it really is, and that's something I also carry in my heart, is that I was fortunate enough, firstly, to meet Felice. Our worlds collided, and she changed my world. But you know, yesterday when we were talking, and she said, go get some other help, and I said, I don't want to. For me to be able to sit in a place, which is that little bed, is a really safe, sometimes I'm more comfortable sitting in misery and depression because I often don't think that I deserve to be happy or understand what happiness looks like. For me, happy before was always using. It was that crazy, ecstatic, energized, adrenaline, jumping on tables, doing crazy stuff, being impulsive stuff, which I always thought was happy. You know, that love at first sight thing, I thought that was happy. I'm learning to redefine happy as a different kind of thing, and sometimes that gets really scary. So my default will be sadness and depression, and those are really they're very comfortable for me because that's why I can feel sorry for myself, and I can get empathy and sympathy and all those other things. For me, also learning how to find the words to say what I'm thinking, because things for me were either good or bad, and I spent a lot of my life not being seen or not being heard. So actually having words that resonate with me sometimes are really difficult for me to find, and when I say them, I attach so much emotion to them that I get overwhelmed with the emotion. So I'm really learning that blossoming for me is being able, it's kind of like a rebirth, you know, recovery for me is a rebirth. It's that spring of my life of being able to blossom and grow and turn into the woman that I'm supposed to be in recovery, which is really, you know, when I look at the bad side and that fear, my body's clenched, I'm sore, I feel physical pain. I do things that when I'm sitting in that fear, I don't get outside my head. But when I start thinking of the things, you know, it's really weird because in the first couple of months, I was really energized being in recovery. Liz, kind of where you were and where you've been. Everything was exciting, everything was hopeful, and all of a sudden it became where Laura was, that blah, vanilla kind of stage. And now it's just trying to find out what does this look like But I can get caught up in what should this look like and what should this be a month from now, and I start projecting into the future, and I forget about just dealing with right now and dealing with right this second. And for me, it's learning to be present and just making the most of right now, because as an addict, it's really easy for me to take myself out of the moment, start thinking of what can I use to, so I don't need to feel something. You know, the crazy thing is, before I'd sit where I was yesterday for weeks and months and for really long periods, today I'm good. You know, today I'm okay. I mean, it doesn't take away the shit that I was worrying about, and it's still going to be there for as long as it's going to be there. I can't change it overnight. But I can definitely step into the space of enjoying connecting with each of you and enjoying the fact that I can actually sit here and laugh at things. And I actually be here today because, can I tell you something? My addiction nearly killed me. I shouldn't be here in the form that I'm in because I did so much to hurt myself. It's miraculous, you know?
Yeah, it is. And so you just talked about perspective, and you said yesterday I showed up like this, and today I'm showing up differently. And the only thing that's different, because it's not like, well, all of the challenges that you had yesterday were solved last night, so today's something different. The only thing that's different is your perspective. Our entire life is nothing but our perspective. Our life is the way that we look at it, right? That's it. So again, if I decide that this is a great day, or I decide that this is a hard and challenging and horrible day, that's my perspective. The day is the day. Are challenging things going to come up in life? Of course they are. Are we going to react instead of act a bunch of times? Of course we are. We're human beings. But we also, as human beings who are growing and learning in recovery, understand that we can go from when you said, so I can sit here and people can feel bad for me. We're talking about you going into victim mode. Poor me. You know, they say in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, pour me a drink, right? And so when we keep ourselves as that victim, it allows us all kinds of excuses to use. When you decide, you know what, today, when I said to you yesterday, call, and you said, you know, I feel comfortable being sick and scared, you know, whereas today, when you have that change in perspective, you're saying, I'm going to step into my own life right now, and I'm going to be in charge of the way that I see things, and I'm going to get the help that I deserve to get.
So you brought up something really interesting as well, because relapse is part of my story. It's not part of everybody's story, and it's the one thing that's been going through my head the most. And this isn't from a lack of connecting with people in community or showing up for workshops or going to meetings or doing the stuff I was told to do. This is me, that I'm an addict. You know, my default behavior or want or to feed my disease is to go out and use. You know, that is the shoemaker makes shoes. I want to use. I mean, that ultimately is where my wants and my feelings go towards. And that's all that I could think about was calling up a new dealer and lighting up a cigarette and going to eat. I had food thoughts that you can't believe, but there's a difference to where I am now. And I could never get there on my own. You know, if I was left to my own devices after years of being out there, I stepped into this program. I was almost 50 years old. You know, it's a long, long time. My thinking kept me using and kept me abusing myself. The only shift has been workshops, showing up for these meetings, speaking out the things that go through my head as much as I don't want to. And yesterday, I didn't want to speak at all, but I forced myself to speak because it's my disease that keeps me ill. Addiction is the weirdest thing. It's the one disease that denies its existence, and it's the only disease that you actually come out of it feeling better than what you went into it. It's like the craziest thing. But honestly, for me, recovery is not something that someone can give you. It's something that takes so much courage and so much willingness and so much open-mindedness to be able to step into it. And anyone who's considering to do a workshop, we've got one coming up on the 8th of December. These workshops help me get healthy. These workshops help me change my perspective. These workshops come with friends. I mean, this is the craziest thing. I was one of the loneliest people. But there are people out there. I've now got people that relate to what I'm saying, who can identify with what I'm saying, and I can identify with what they're saying. Because so many times, what I need the strength from is when you share where you're at, and that's part of my growth and my learning. And I'm just really grateful today.
Thank you, baby. I'm grateful to you too. Stace, did you do your assignment?
Well, I just wrote,
So Stacy is very resistant. She was resistant to doing her work yesterday. Very important thing, Karen, that you said yesterday was when we're in a group together, we're in a group together. And, you know, it's kind of like, I'll show you yours if, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. You know, that we feel like, okay, we're putting ourselves out here on the table in front of everybody. And we want that from you as well. We want, because what you're doing is helping us and what we're doing is helping you. So thanks for pointing that out yesterday, Karen, by the way, which was very brave of Karen. Because for Karen, Karen is more of an enabler and a little bit of codependence in there where she would normally stick up for you and say, no, I understand how you're feeling and it's okay that you didn't do your assignment and when you, right? But you didn't come to her rescue yesterday. You called bullshit. And I was really
I worried about that all evening.
I bet you did. I bet you did worry about that all evening.
I did.
God bless
I
you.
did.
But you did it anyway. So thank you for calling bullshit yesterday because that was super important. And you know what? It's okay. And what you say are just words. And how I take it is about me. And your feelings deserve to be heard. And that's what gets you well. And you're not here to make Stacy well. You're here to get well and grow in your recovery. So good job you for that yesterday. Good job you. Go ahead, Stacey.
So I understand her point of view, like if I'm sharing, you should be sharing. But I feel like I'm at the stage where some stuff is just too painful and maybe I'm not ready. So I come to listen and if it's something simple to share, fine. But if it's too difficult, I can't do it.
Right, here's the thing, baby. Just because you haven't done it doesn't mean you can't. And as long as you've decided that you can't, you can't. Remember, we started with that. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Or maybe I feel like it's not as written as beautifully as all
Nobody
everybody
gives
else.
a shit. That's your ego. Nobody cares about that. That's your ego talking. Remember, ego is, what does Bonnie think of me? What's her opinion of me? Who cares what her opinion of you is? You don't even know her. Who cares? This ain't about what Bonnie thinks of you. This is about you growing spiritually and getting some happy. That's all this is about. And if that means, and especially, it's one
I
thing.
feel like everybody writes like they work for Hallmark.
Okay.
Except for me.
Okay, nobody cares.
I work for like Sesame Street or something.
No, nobody cares, and everybody's watched Sesame Street. Everybody. So I'm asking. So, and again, I'm going to call bullshit because you know how we used to have all of these excuses to use,
Yes.
right? I had a 17-year-old son that died. That was my reason and then excuse to stay sick, right? And so I stayed sick and suffering for a really long time. And you know what? If your 17-year-old son died in an accident, you'd use too. You know what? Bullshit. And fuck me, because it kept me sick and scared and horrible and pathetic and a victim and somebody who couldn't get well because I couldn't get well. Because I didn't know how to let go of the pain. Because letting go of the pain would be letting go of the sadness, would be letting go of my son. So I've been there. I understand what it's like to be so scared and so sick and not know how to let go. And so the way to do that is to do it. And to say, I'm worthy of getting well. No matter how guilty or horrible or ashamed or pathetic or betrayed or demoralized I feel right now. I'm still a human being who's worthy of getting some help and worthy of getting some happy. And I'm gonna promise you that when I was where I was, there wasn't 1 second that I was of service to anyone else or to the universe. Not 1 second. Can somebody bring up Miriam, our darkest fear? Not you. We're talking, put your phone down, please. Our deepest fear, isn't that where it's about how we're fabulous and shining our lights so we can,
Williamson.
so others can, Williamson, thank you.
Marianne, here it is.
Yeah,
On deepest
I'll
fear.
have you read that in
Sure.
a minute. Let me have Stacy go ahead and share. Go ahead, baby.
Oh. I just said like if you don't reach out to others for help, you'll be lost.
Which is where you are.
Right. And
Right.
blocking people from entering my life. Like if you're closed, you're not letting anyone in to help or guide or share.
Yeah, to get well. And so that was so simply said and so to the point and so correct and exactly where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stop it.
Okay.
Yeah. Stop it. Get well. Make a decision to get well. You know, make a decision. Say, understand that this life is worth living and that you can get well. And that even though that looks like a whole lot of work, you know why? Because it's going to be a whole lot of work. It takes a lot of work to get unsick. It really does, but it's so worth it, right? They say no one said it was going to be easy, but they certainly said it's going to be worth it. I can promise you that sitting here, I sat there. Sitting here is a whole lot better than sitting where you are right now. Does anybody want to agree with me with that? That sitting where you're sitting right now, Liz, sitting where you're sitting right now a whole lot better than it was before?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, Laura. I know that you're having a hard time. And no matter how hard today is, sitting here still has to be better than it felt before. Has to. There's got to be some glimpse of hope that things are going to get better than they were before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask the people on Facebook as well, if you can relate to this, give us a thumbs up as well, because just as Felice said, it's better sitting where you are now than when you first started the journey. So if you can relate to what's being said, give us a thumbs up so we know that you're there as well.
Jess?
And wait just 1 second.
Yeah,
I just
the
wanted
quote
to
you were
say
talking
something about what you
Marianne
just said.
something.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah,
on
yeah.
1 second.
We'll tell you.
So you were of service today, and I just want to share something that not many people know. Firstly, Stacy already at 7:45 this morning was texting me for the Zoom ID because she wasn't going to show up to the room. You know, and a lot of people who see this online and they see the ad, they think about it, they start in Facebook, and it's a huge transition for them to step from Facebook into the room. And there's a lot of thought and a lot of discussion in our own heads, and that takes a tremendous amount of courage.
That's
And if you
Only Bonnie
and if
got
you
me here today.
and if you, however you got
Excuse
here,
me, you got you
You-
here today. No matter what Bonnie said, and thank you, Bonnie, for being of service, you got you here today. So give yourself that credit. She didn't drag you out of your bed, dress you, brush your teeth, put you in the car, get your coffee, and bring you here. You did that. Okay, so let's look at the things that you're doing. Bonnie can't make you come, man. Only you can. You brought you here.
and that also gives courage to other people out there that might get someone to step into the room in our virtual room to take that leap of faith to try something different to get well. So thank you. Can I read the quote?
Yeah.
Okay, this is one of the most
And then
amazing
Jess, we're
quotes.
going to hear from you.
This is by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are more powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be?
Who are you not to be?
You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Yeah, share the love, man. You know, be of service. Show your light. You know, reach out a hand. Thank you, Bonnie, this morning for reaching out a hand. You know, be the reason that someone got to feel like smiling for a moment. You know, show them that it's okay to smile. Do that stuff. Makes you feel awesome. It does. It makes you feel really great. Jess, can you talk, baby? I don't know what London time we're on.
Yeah, it's all right. It's 3:15 here in the afternoon. So
Oh, okay, good. How are you?
I want to tell you I'm doing well, but that's a load of rubbish.
Yes. I knew it was a load of rubbish. I love it.
Yeah. I want to tell lies and say I'm fine. But yeah, I'm grieving at the moment. I'm grieving. I lost my granddad yesterday, so
Aw.
I'm dealing with that. So
That
yeah, but
sucks.
I'm here.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and I suppose I want to say thank you, Liz, for reaching out. Liz has been very supportive over the last few days, especially, and over the week. So I guess I want to shout out there to Liz for that. I'm very grateful. Also, there are others in this community who have been massive support to me over the weeks, with the situation with my family also. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's really good to see your face, baby. And come to meetings when you can, okay? And thanks for just showing up and for gracing us with your presence. And I missed you a little bit. And please come when you can. And I'm sorry for your struggle, and I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for your loss, like super sorry. Thank you, baby.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and raise your hand or talk again if you can, if you have anything to share. I can't see up on the screen, so can you tell me who's in the middle?
Joyce?
Joyce. Hi, Joyce. Unmute yourself, hon.
I got it. I
We got
unmuted
it.
you.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Bonnie, my buddy, for telling me about this meeting. This is my first time in your group. I've been a member of OA for 27 years.
Cool.
But still, to this day, struggle with this food addiction. And I learned a lot from the sharing today. I thank you. I mean, I love quotes and I've said them all, but sometimes I say them and it's like, okay, then I do my stupid disease behavior,
Yeah, and
So,
so we do a lot. So we're not affiliated with any of the A groups. Shout out to all of them and everyone that they help to get or keep clean. We're all for anything that's helpful. We're completely different, and we're just two girls that are talking about our recovery. Our what we talk about is acceptance, right? The difference between acceptance and boundaries and perspective, and that's what we work on the most. Because it's funny that you said that. How many times have you said I've said the Serenity Prayer about 846 billion times, right? If you're in the room, you've said. Right? And then once in a while, we think, it's about acceptance.
Yeah.
How often do we listen to the words, accept the things I cannot change? Right? Who did I send acceptance to yesterday? You, right?
Yeah.
Yes, from the big book, right? Acceptance is the answer to all my challenges today.
What's a big book?
It's an AA book.
I keep hearing that.
So the truth of the matter is acceptance is the answer to all my challenges today. When I'm not accepting of something, it's because I'm not accepting of me. I need to change my perspective, right? Or I need to decide that that's a boundary and walk the other way, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we work on things completely differently. Principles are principles. Honesty, spiritual principle, honesty, that's of course our, I wrote a workbook, so we do our own stuff. But spiritually, it's about getting happy, which ultimately, I would imagine, is the hopeful end result of any group, right? Of any kind of group or any kind of community or any kind of organization. That we know that there's strength in community. That we know basic psych 101 says that when everybody's working for the betterment of the community is better. Right?
Yes.
Individually and together strong, we're better. And so this is about community, kind of a tight-knit community. And here we share completely, honestly, and get feedback from everybody else because we've all been there and we've all felt that. And we've all felt like liars. I talked about yesterday about how I walk into meetings in some of the groups, and I won't raise my hand and say what it is that I need to say at that moment, because I want to make sure that what I'm saying is staying between me and the people that I'm saying it in front of, and not because of ego, but just because of where I need to be at work, where I need to be in the community. And this is always a safe place. We have a private group that's very private. that we can share no matter what's going on, no matter when we feel like using, if we've used, why we're feeling the way that we're feeling, how we're scared, how we're happy, how are any of those things that we know that I can say privately to Haiti or to Ange or to Laura or whoever I'm talking with, Karen, privately, and I can say it in our community as well, and that's okay, and that I'm safe, and that I'm heard, and that the people that are here actually do know me better than anybody else in the universe does.
So just for anyone who's wondering where this community is, we've got a website. It's sowhywait.net. It's all around us. We are not just about the weight and the food. We are addicts in recovery. It doesn't matter what you use, what your substance of choice is, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, men, food, thinking, whatever it is. You're welcome, because at the end of the day, it's those feelings that are exactly the same that kind of unite us. It's a safe space. We post up tools, resources, any meetings and workshops that we're having. And really, it's for people to get well. So join us. Welcome.
Yeah, and so we never care about what you're using. So we talk about food for about 10 seconds. You know, we talk about cravings because cravings are cravings no matter what we're craving. Whether I want to eat opiates and you want to eat Oreos, both start with O, right? Same thing. I mean, it's the same exact thing. It's just exactly. Oreos are just a little bit, take a little bit longer, but to eat. But yeah. And I actually, did you find it? Thank you. I actually read this yesterday, so I'm going to read it for you because I love it. A shot to kill the pain, a pill to drain the shame, a purge to end the game, a cut to break the vein, a smoke to ease the crave, a drink to win the game. Addiction is an addiction because it all hurts the same. It all hurts the same. What we're picking up don't matter. Why we're picking up is what matters. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you come back.
Thank you. I got a lot of value out of today. I will.
We have a...
I already joined your Facebook group.
Cool.
And I'll tune in again. I got a lot of value because it's not what we're eating, it's what's eating us. And it doesn't matter what the substance. I agree with everything you've said, and I know it's about perception. Like, I have all the head stuff, but sometimes, my husband lost his manhood. He had a heart attack, and so we have a sexless marriage, and that's a big factor, and I find myself leaning on the food again. So I know, it's kind of like I know what I'm doing, but something you shared was important, that I don't always feel safe in some of the OA rooms. So I won't share my vulnerable truth because I feel that, it may be violated. I don't like that. I don't trust easily. And I've been in the rooms 27 years and I still don't trust easily because it's been violated.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I got a lot of value of feeling safe in your group. And I definitely will come back. And I thank you all for being part of the service today. And my friend Bonnie, we go back 20-something years. She needs a little gold star because she's told me about this group like for 3 or 4 weeks and she never gave up on me. Today she sent me a reminder and said, it's coming at 9:30, maybe you'll tune in. Like, no judgment, no harshness, just pure unconditional love. So I want to thank her for that.
Well, good job, you, Bonnie. And thank you for being here.
Joyce, thank you for sharing, because you also brought up a really important point as well. This discussion is about anonymity. Some people aren't comfortable discussing what's really in their heart, and it's one of the reasons we went virtual. On our website, people see on Facebook, depending on what you're liking or sharing, your friends will know what you're doing unless you're part of our closed group. On our website, it's absolutely anonymous. You have to be in the group to see anything. So anyone who's struggling of not feeling comfortable about sharing, step into the website. It's a great forum up there. Doesn't matter if everybody knows you or nobody knows you. We don't shoot our wounded. Everyone's welcome in our community. And that's why we created the safe space, because the only way we're going to get well is by sharing those things that hurt us.
Yeah, and by getting over the fear, man, right? Again, for the 60,000th time. Again, and I'm going to say it again for today. Courage isn't a lack of fear. It's being scared. It's being able to say, I'm scared and I'm going to learn how to walk through this fear so that I can get out on the other side. If it wasn't scary, we wouldn't need courage, right? We wouldn't need it. It would just be okay. So good job you for being here. Thank you.
And the website address again is sowhywait, weight.net.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Christine, it's Christine, right?
Christine said she wouldn't.
That's okay. I just want to say hi.
Okay.
Thanks for
She
being
did
here.
Send us a message. I can read. Should I
Oh,
read it?
yeah. I can't see, so.
Christine said, just wanted to say a huge thank you, and I'm grateful of Liz reaching out this week and talking me off the ledge this week. I appreciate this community. Thank you.
And good to see you, Christine. Keep coming, ma'am. You know, I know that you're not ready to speak yet. My hope is that you will be soon, but in the meantime, it's good to see your face. Keep showing up. Yes.
So I just wanted to go through a couple of things. One is, we're extremely grateful for the people who step into service and really are participating and assisting us in getting the message out. Angeli, Ahmed, Bonnie, Liz, Laura, Karen, like all you guys who are participating, thank you so much. West Broward Club, thank you for this amazing space to be able to hold our meetings. If you're in Davie or South Florida or close to us, step into the room. It's a great place to be. Come meet us. Come get a hug.
Laura flew here. Like, you guys could fly here. Laura, we miss you. Come home.
Come visit.
We need Laura to come home.
And also we got a couple of things coming up. The holidays for us, for a lot of people, are an emotional time. It can be challenging if we start isolating and feeling alone.
It can be challenging even when we're not isolating, right?
There's a lot of stuff that comes up. So we are holding another workshop on the 8th of December. So
That's a mini workshop.
It's a little one. It's a 2-hour. We do these mini workshops. It's probably like twice a month we're starting to do them.
Saturday?
It's a Saturday.
Isn't that the
So
last
you
weekend
have to
of
check the website. You have to check the website for Thursday meetings because we don't have a meeting every Thursday. It's also hockey season. So
Panthers, go Panthers.
So whenever there's a game, we're not holding a meeting, but we do have a
Priorities,
meeting.
you guys.
We have a meeting every Sunday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. For anyone who misses the meeting, if you got friends in other states in California, and 6:30 is a bit early for them, we do have an archive of all our videos on YouTube. Just go to While Wait for Recovery. We must have about 200 videos there of past meetings. Great things to watch if you're traveling. Watch them on the flight. They're awesome. And people join us from all around the world. Jess, so good to see you. Sorry, love.
Sorry.
And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, whatever time zone you're in. The reason we have our community as well is there's always someone there that's going to reach out and say something if you post something. So take advantage of it. Get involved in your life. Step into your life.
And Karen's dog is here. Karen's dog has an eating disorder. Thank you, Karen, for sharing the addiction with your puppy.
And
But I think spiritually the dog is a lot better since he's been coming to meetings. She.
So Thursday's Thanksgiving.
Thursday's Thanksgiving.
So I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
A healthy, spiritually happy Thanksgiving.
And post your gratitude. We should have Thanksgiving every day just to be grateful for where we're at. We post 3 things that we're grateful for, no matter where, on the website, on Facebook, on your own page. Just post 3 things that you're grateful for, your strength for the day. It helps ground us, it helps take us out of this little space that can drive us crazy. And do you want to take us on?
Yeah, so I'm so blessed and so grateful to be in recovery. My name is Dr. Felice Cellini, and thank you so much for joining us on our Sunday morning Why Wait for Recovery community meeting. And thank you, every one of you, for being here and for helping me in my journey in recovery.
And I'm so blessed and grateful for all of you. Thank you so much. If no one's told you today that they love you, I love you. Have a beautiful week and see you Sunday, everyone.
Peace out, you guys.
out,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye. Are we good?
Bye, guys.
Laura, you coming over?
Yeah.
All right, well, come on.